The driver of an SUV that allegedly hit a school bus, causing this rollover on I-10 in Marana, is suspected to have been driving under the influence. He allegedly admitted to smoking marijuana 2 days before the crash. But court records now show he has not been charged with a DUI. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Troy Hayden. 12 News journalist Gabriella Becerra in studio tonight to explain what's happening now with this case. What's happening, Gabby?
Well, Troy, cannabis can stay in someone's system long after the high wears off, but a drug recognition expert tells me testing is detailed enough to prove if the driver was high at the time of the crash.
Arizona's zero-tolerance stance spans beyond just alcohol.
We have seen an uptick in cannabis DUIs since the legalization of it.
As a drug recognition expert, Maricopa County Sheriff Deputy Luke Hardesty tells me he often stops people for driving high, drunk, or both.
We're definitely having an issue with people that are just not taking that into consideration when using the product and then getting behind the wheel and operating.
Speed and lack of vehicle control are common indicators of impairment, but Hardesty says it's the driver's features that can also give it away.
We commonly refer to as the eyes as the window to the soul. So the eyes will tell a lot of the story before anything else really does.
If a driver is suspected to be under the influence, they'll be asked to do a field sobriety test, which is enough to lead to probable cause for more testing. Hardesty says that's a 12-step process that can include saliva, urine, or blood analysis.
Our tests are very good at being able to tell that they are under the influence of the actual active ingredient in THC and not the metabolized form.
Testing was conducted on the driver who reportedly crashed into a school bus on I-10 near Marana, seriously injuring 4 people. According to court records, the driver, Nicholas Ruiz Rodriguez, told a state trooper he had smoked marijuana 2 days before the crash. He was taken into custody on suspicion of DUI after allegedly showing signs of impairment during field sobriety tests. Rodriguez's saliva sample tested positive for cannabis, and under a warrant, he then provided blood samples. Rodriguez has not been charged with a DUI. Hardesty says a blood analysis can take some time, but it tells detectives if the impairing or active substance of cannabis was in a driver's system.
Any amount of active THC in your system under Arizona revised statute is going to be your DUI. We don't have any sort of set numbering system.
Hardesty encourages everyone to designate sober drivers or just stay home after consuming altering substances.
You are putting not only your life at risk, but you're putting several other lives at risk.
And this deputy adds everyone metabolizes drugs and alcohol at different rates, so it's really important that you wait until the substances are out of your system before getting behind the wheel. Troy?
All right, Gabby, thank you. New at 10 o'clock, police make an arrest in a deadly stabbing in West Phoenix. They got a call, police did, about a fight near 59th Avenue and Indian School about 5 this afternoon, and they found a man who had been stabbed. He was rushed to the hospital, but he died of his injuries. Investigators found the suspect in a neighborhood just north of where the stabbing happened, and they took him into custody. He's since been identified as 32-year-old Michael Santos. A woman dies while in the custody of U.S. Customs and Border Protection in Yuma, and a Democratic congresswoman says the woman was a Chinese national who died by suicide. That congresswoman who released the information says she believes agents didn't follow proper procedures to ensure the woman's safety. CBP tells 12 News that each cell is under constant surveillance, but added that surveillance may have been limited in this particular case. So we have the full story posted right now on our website, 12news.com. Opening statements are set to begin tomorrow in the Arizona trial for the so-called doomsday mom, Lori Vallow Daybell. She's already been convicted of killing her 2 young children in Idaho. Now she's facing 2 separate murder conspiracy cases here in Arizona. Vallow Daybell is representing herself and has pled not guilty. 12 News journalist Erica Stapleton is covering the trial.
We are expecting a lot of people to be watching come Monday when opening statements start. Lori Vallow Daybell is representing herself, and we've already seen some tense moments where she's arguing in front of the judge.
An explosive buildup.
I feel like the state is trying to say, okay, if you want your speedy trial, guess what? We're not going to let you defend yourself.
As Lori Vallow Daybell gears up for opening statements in her first trial in Arizona, the doomsday mom is already convicted in Idaho of killing her children, Tylee and JJ. In her first Arizona trial, she's accused of conspiring to kill her former husband, Charles Vallow, so she can be with her current husband, Chad Daybell. She's pleaded not guilty, and she's representing herself.
Lori Vallow is fundamentally a narcissist. I'm not surprised at all that she is attempting to represent herself.
Rachel Smith was a prosecutor on Vallow Daybell's murder trial in Idaho.
The most powerful evidence applies to all the victims, but we'll see a very different case, I think. It'll be very focused on Arizona, what happened there, and Charles Vallow.
Charles Vallow warned police about his wife's darkening religious beliefs that are ultimately the core of this case. But in 2019, Lori's brother, Alex Cox, shot Charles Vallow dead at the family's home in Chandler.
Yeah, there's blood. He's not moving.
Prosecutors argue that Lori conspired with her brother to kill him. Cox can't be charged because he died, reportedly of natural causes, before this case was brought in court. Through hearings and court motions, we're expecting Vallow Daybell to bring up self-defense.
Many pro se defendants act as if there's some grand conspiracy to get them, or at least that's the narrative they try to paint.
Lori's husband, Chad Daybell, was also convicted in Idaho for murdering Lori's kids and his first wife, Tammy. He was sentenced to death in that state. Lori got life in prison and will go back there once her cases in Arizona play out.
We will see the impact that Lori Vallow, Chad had on multiple lives coming out of this trial. And sadly, we're going to see that Charles' effort to get her help and his effort to deal with it failed, and it cost him his life.
Lori Vallow Daybell's second trial in Arizona is also a murder conspiracy case. She's accused of plotting to kill her niece's ex-husband, who ultimately was not injured. Opening statements in her first trial are scheduled to start Monday morning. Erica Stapleton, 12 News.
So a lot of twists and turns in this case, and with her representing herself, no doubt there will be some interesting testimony. So we'll have continuing coverage of Lori Vallow Daybell's trial on air and online. We are live streaming this entire trial, if you want to watch it, gavel to gavel, exclusively on our 12 Plus television app. We'll also have daily recaps and analysis about what happens inside that courtroom. So again, on our streaming app 12 Plus, streaming the entire trial, download it on your TV to watch for free. Now we have a story about a man who's building an ark and filling it with animals. Now the animals aren't in pairs, and this ark isn't a ship, but in the future this Photo Ark could be the only place you'll see some very rare and beautiful animals. And for that reason, the man building it is making it his life's work. Bebop, the bicolored spined porcupine, is not your typical cover model, but one of the most famous photographers in the world came here to the valley to get a perfect shot.
We photograph tigers and gorillas and elephants, but really the Photo Ark's built for the smaller things that people will have never heard of before.
Joel Sartori is working on an ambitious project called Photo Ark, a plan from National Geographic to photograph all 25,000 species of animals known to be in human care. And he works with a lot of the smaller ones. Like this, the Derby's woolly opossum. Sartori travels the world finding animals like this, fitting them sometimes into tiny studios, or even nudging larger animals to get in front of big backdrops, getting amazing shots.
The one light failed, but it still looks kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah.
We caught up with Joel at the Wildlife World Zoo in the West Valley. It's the second time he's photographed animals here. During this session at the zoo, he worked with species like mule deer, the zoo staff carefully placing food in front of the backdrop so Joel could get a great shot. And he got pictures of lesser-known animals like the black-tailed hairy dwarf porcupine, the unique-looking curassow, the purplish-backed jay, an ocellated turkey, and a fallow deer.
We're trying to photograph every captive species in the world over about a 25-year period or so to just get the public to realize there's so much amazing wildlife out there. It's worth saving. It's really worth saving.
Sartori spent 2 days here in the valley, crossing nearly a dozen animals off of his list, adding to the ark. He spends a lot of time in zoos for his work and thinks they serve a very important purpose in this digital age.
A good zoo where there's abundant attention and care and a lot is an education center. They're not only conservation centers, but they are teaching the next generation that these animals are amazing. And I just think when we lose good zoos, good aquariums, and that educational component where people can go and see and smell and hear, sometimes touch a wild animal, it changes people. It makes them realize that it's a really big deal to save these and their habitats.
With a little more than 8,000 animals left to photograph to reach his goal, Sartori always has to look ahead to completely load up the ark.
It's all fascinating to me, and people ask me what my favorite is, and I always say the next one. The next one. How could it be any different, right?
And you have to have that kind of passion to take on a project like this. Now, my wife runs the Wildlife World Zoo. That's how I found out Joel was in town. So he says he'll be back. The Photo Ark books are available online and in bookstores. And if you'd like to hear more from Joel, I've uploaded my entire interview with him, along with more video of him at work on our 12 Plus app. He has an amazing perspective on wildlife and photography. So go to the 12 Plus app, look for the Troy Hayden Reports section to watch the original story and that extra material.